Evan never expected his life to change on a quiet, ordinary afternoon. He had grown used to living a steady, predictable routine wake-up. Go to work, come home, eat simple meals, watch the night sky, then sleep. He was a young man with a curious mind, but curiosity alone had never brought anything exciting into his life. Everything about his days followed the same rhythm, and he had started to accept that maybe life simply did not have any surprises planned for him. Yet on that afternoon, something unusual happened. Evan was walking through the open field behind his neighborhood. It was a place he liked to visit whenever he needed air or wanted to think. Tall grass touched his hands as he walked, and the breeze felt cool on his skin. The sky above him was clear, and the sunlight was gentle. He was not expecting anything extraordinary, nor was he looking for adventure. He simply wanted a peaceful stroll to help settle his thoughts as he crossed the field. He noticed something odd, a faint shimmer in the air, almost like a mirage. It was not too bright, and most people might have ignored it. But Evan's curiosity made him slow down. The shimmer wavered and moved, as if responding to his presence. His steps grew quieter, almost cautious, though he did not feel afraid. Instead, he felt something he hadn't felt in years' anticipation. The shimmer grew stronger, shaping itself into a soft, glowing circle. Evan took a step closer. The air around him felt warm and light, like standing near a quiet fire on a cool night. His heart beat a little faster. He did not understand what he was seeing, but he sensed that something important was about to happen. Then someone stepped out of the shimmering circle. She looked human at first, but only at first glance. Her appearance was breathtaking in a quiet, gentle way, not because of glamour or beauty, but because she carried an unusual calmness around her, a softness that made the air feel safe. Her eyes were large and bright, reflecting light like polished crystals. Her hair flowed smoothly down her shoulders, and when she moved, it swayed almost as though it were carrying a faint glow. Evan froze, but not from fear. It was more like wonder. She looked at him with a gentle smile, as though she had been expecting him. "You can see me?" she asked softly. Evan swallowed and nodded. "I think so." Her smile widened, and something in it made Evan relax. She stepped closer, and the shimmering circle behind her quietly faded into the air. "My name is Alira," she said. "I came because of you." The words confused him. He was an ordinary person. Why would someone, especially someone who clearly wasn't from this world, come for him? Alira studied him with warm eyes, as if confirming something she already knew. "You are not aware yet, but you carry something rare. It calls to those who can sense it." Evan blinked. "I don't understand." "You will," she replied. "But first, I need to make sure you are safe." Her voice was kind yet serious. Before he could ask more, she took his hand gently. Her touch felt warm, like sunlight. Evan sensed no threat, no discomfort. Instead, he felt a strange connection forming, as though they had known each other far longer than the brief moments they had shared. Alira looked around the field, eyes scanning the sky for something unseen. "Others have felt your presence too. Not all of them wish to approach you with peace." But before anxious thoughts could take shape, Alira squeezed his hand lightly. "You are not in danger with me," she assured. "But to protect you, I must create a mark. It will help both of us." "A mark?" Evan echoed. "It is a gentle sign in my world," she explained. "A way to say, he is under my care. No one with unfriendly intentions will dare come close when they sense it." Evan did not fully understand, but something in Alira's voice made him trust her. It was not blind trust. It felt natural, as though she was guiding him through something he could not yet comprehend. Alira stepped closer, her eyes soft. She raised his hand, held it gently, and leaned toward it. Evan felt a flutter of nervousness, but it was not unpleasant. When she pressed her lips lightly against the back of his hand, her touch was soft and warm. Then he felt the faintest pressure, a gentle, harmless little bite. It did not hurt at all. It felt more like a soft pinch, followed by a warm sensation spreading through his skin. Evan looked down at his hand. Where she had touched him, a soft, glowing mark began to appear. It was a small, shimmering pattern, beautiful, delicate and unlike anything he had ever seen. It pulsed with light for a moment before settling into a gentle glow. Alira withdrew her hand, watching him with calm eyes. "There," she said softly. "Now you are marked as someone under my protection." Evan stared at the glowing mark, fascinated. "Is that all it takes?" "For my kind," she said gently, "yes. And for the others who may try to approach, it is enough. They will sense my presence around you." He looked up at her. "And what about you? Will you stay here?" Alira's expression softened. "I came because the universe shifts in ways you do not see yet. Something about you is changing, and that change draws attention. I cannot leave until you learn why." Evan's heart skipped. "Why me? I'm just ordinary." Alira shook her head. "You are many things, Evan, but ordinary is not one of them. Not anymore." He felt the weight of her words, though he didn't fully understand them. Something in the air felt different now. The mark on his hand glowed faintly, then steadied. He touched it gently. It felt warm, almost like a living thing. "Will this change me?" he asked quietly. "Not in a harmful way," Alira answered. "It will simply reveal what already exists inside you. Think of it as a light shining on a hidden path." Evan nodded slowly, trying to absorb everything. His simple, quiet day had turned into something unimaginable. A strange visitor had stepped out of shimmering air, spoken to him as though he were someone important, and given him a mark meant to protect him from unseen forces. It should have overwhelmed him, but somehow he felt calm. Maybe it was Alira's presence. Maybe it was the warm glow on his skin. Or maybe, deep down, he had always been waiting for something, some kind of sign that his life was meant for more. Alira took a step closer, looking up at the sky once again. "We should not stay in the open too long. Even with the mark, others might sense your awakening." Evan looked around, suddenly aware of how quiet the field felt. The breeze had stilled, as if the world was holding its breath. "Where should we go?" he asked. "Somewhere calm," she said. "Somewhere you feel safe." "I will follow." Evan nodded. His home was not far from the field. It was small, but peaceful. Alira followed him with graceful steps, her presence gentle and reassuring. As they walked, Evan couldn't stop glancing at the glowing mark on his hand. It felt surreal, beautiful, strange, and somehow comforting. Alira noticed his curious glances. "It will fade to a softer glow soon," she said, "but it will still be there. Anyone who can sense energy will recognize it instantly." "Does it scare them?" Evan asked. Her eyes twinkled. "Some, yes. Not because of fear in the way you know it. More like respect. The kind that keeps distance." Evan nodded slowly, trying not to overthink. They walked in silence for a moment, the world around them calm and still. Evan could feel something shifting inside him, as though the mark had unlocked a quiet strength he had never known. As they approached his home, Evan felt the weight of the day settle in his chest, not heavy, but full of questions, possibilities, and a strange sense of destiny he had never imagined for himself. Alira touched his arm lightly. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "But do not worry. You are not alone." And for the first time in a long while, Evan believed it. The next morning arrived quietly, but something felt different around him. Leon woke up earlier than usual, and the moment he opened his eyes, he sensed a strange awareness in his mind. It was as if someone else was awake inside him, observing everything from a distance. He sat up slowly, rubbing his temples. The faint mark on his shoulder tingled again, the same strange warmth as the night before. He didn't know whether to be worried or grateful. All he knew was that his life had changed in a way. He didn't fully understand. He went about his day with an odd mixture of curiosity and nervousness. Normally, he would leave early for the lab, but today he found himself hesitating. Something told him he wasn't alone anymore. The memory of Leora's bright, unreadable eyes kept returning to him. He wondered where she had gone, whether she had watched him sleep, or whether she had traveled back to wherever beings like her lived. He didn't know how beings like her moved around, but he had a feeling distance didn't matter to her at all. When he stepped outside, the air felt sharper, almost alive. A few neighbors greeted him as usual, but their smiles paused for just a second, as if they sensed something unusual around him. Even the stray cat that always rubbed against his leg stopped midway and backed away carefully. Watching him with a mix of curiosity and caution, Leon frowned. That had never happened before. On the way to work, he kept noticing things he had never paid attention to. The sound of the wind felt clearer. The movement of the trees seemed slower, almost like every leaf carried a message. And deep inside, there was a soft hum, steady, and somehow reassuring. It felt like a connection, a thread linking him to something far beyond his world. When he reached the lab, he tried to act normal. His coworkers didn't notice anything strange at first, but around midday, one of them, Dr. Hale, stared at him for a long moment. "Are you feeling all right?" he asked casually. Leon forced a smile. "Yeah, just didn't sleep well." Dr. Hale nodded but kept watching him longer than necessary, as if trying to solve a puzzle he didn't know the pieces to. Leon began to feel uneasy. If people around him sensed something different already, what would happen if the wrong person paid attention? The answer came faster than he expected. During lunch break, Leon stepped outside to get some air. The sun was bright overhead, and he sat on a bench near the small garden behind the building. He closed his eyes for a moment, trying to calm the lingering hum in his mind. That was when he felt an intense shift in the air. Not wind, not temperature, but presence. He opened his eyes sharply. Across the yard stood a tall figure, slim, silent, and completely still. Leon's breath hitched. The figure was not human. Its shape was almost right, but not fully. Its limbs were slightly too long, its posture too controlled, and its skin had a faint metallic glow like cooled silver. Leon froze. They weren't supposed to be here. They weren't supposed to appear so openly. The being tilted its head, studying him. There was no threat in its posture, but there was clear intention. It was searching for something, maybe for him. The hum inside his chest grew stronger, pulsing like an echo. He didn't know if Leora could hear him through it, but he silently hoped she could. The being took one slow step. Forward. Leon's heart pounded. Then something unexpected happened. The creature suddenly recoiled. Not from him exactly, but from something around him. Its posture changed instantly from cautious approach to alarm. It took several steps back as if it had touched something dangerous. Its eyes, bright and narrow, widened with something close to fear. Fear directed at him. Leon didn't understand. He hadn't done anything. He was just standing there, still and confused. But then he felt it. A soft glow spread from the mark on his shoulder, radiating through his body like a warm wave. It didn't burn, didn't hurt. It felt protective, almost gentle. Yet clearly, to the creature in front of him, was something terrifying. The being stepped back again, then turned sharply. In one smooth motion, it disappeared behind a streak of light so fast Leon couldn't fully track it. Within seconds, it was gone. Leon sat frozen, staring at the empty space where it had stood. Why had it been afraid? He touched the mark again, still warm. Leora's voice echoed faintly in his mind, the memory of her quiet words about protection and belonging. He didn't know how marking him made him appear to others, but clearly it changed something, not only inside him, but outside as well. He stood up slowly, still shaken. This was bigger than anything he had imagined. He needed answers. The workday felt endless after that. He kept zoning out, replaying the encounter in his mind. At the end of the day, he hurried home, hoping Leora would return. He had too many questions, and only she knew the answers. When he stepped into his apartment, the lights flickered slightly. For a moment, he thought it was just faulty wiring, but then he noticed the familiar soft shimmer forming in the corner of the room. Leora appeared as if she had always been there. Her expression was calm, but her eyes searched his face with surprising care. "You saw them," she said softly, as if she already knew. Leon nodded. "It showed up at work. It didn't touch me. I didn't even move. It just backed away, like it was scared." Leora stepped closer. "It sensed my mark on you, Leon swallowed. Why does your mark scare them? Her expression changed slightly, not exactly sadness, not exactly guilt, but something in between. Because my kind is not one they wish to challenge. Our energy is different, stronger. They keep their distance from anything that carries it. Leon felt a strange mixture of relief and confusion. So I'm safe because of this? Yes, she replied gently. As long as the mark stays, they cannot harm you. They will not even approach closely. Leon hesitated. Then why did you mark me in the first place? Leora looked at him for a long moment. The room seemed to grow quieter around them. I marked you so others would know you are under my protection, she said softly. And because I wanted you to remain connected to me. Leon's heart stirred unexpectedly. He didn't know what to say. He wasn't sure he fully understood what she meant. But the sincerity in her voice was unmistakable. But there is more you must know, she added. The mark does not only protect you, it awakens things inside you, abilities, sensitivities. You will begin to notice more changes. Leon blinked. What kind of changes? Your senses will sharpen, she explained. Your awareness will grow. You may feel emotions or thoughts that do not belong only to you. This is normal. It means the bond is active. The word bond made his breath catch. Something about it felt intimate, yet calming. Is this permanent? He asked quietly. It can be, she said, if you choose. But you are not bound by force. You always have a choice. Leon stared into her eyes, searching for any sign of pressure or expectation. But all he saw was honesty. After a long pause, he exhaled slowly. Right now. I think I need your help more than ever. Leora smiled, a small, warm smile that softened every sharp feature of her face. Then I will stay by your side, she said. The room felt lighter again, and Leon's tension eased. He realized that for the first time since the encounter earlier that day, he could finally breathe. But deep inside, he sensed this was only the beginning. Something larger was moving in the world around him. And whatever it was, he was now part of it. And he wasn't sure if he should feel afraid or grateful. Rian woke up earlier than usual the next morning, even before the first light touched the windows. Something inside him felt unsettled, yet strangely hopeful at the same time. He lay there quietly for a moment, listening to the soft hum in the air that always appeared when Lysera was nearby. It was gentle, almost musical, like a soft chord playing from nowhere. He didn't understand how she did it, but somehow it always brought him comfort. When he finally rose, he realized that the faint mark she had left on his shoulder the night before still pulsed with a warm glow. It wasn't bright, but it shimmered just enough that he could see it clearly. It reminded him of the moment she placed it, the way she had looked at him with deep concern, and the strange protective expression she wore. He didn't know exactly why she had done it, but he knew it wasn't out of harm or control. She had been scared for him. She had wanted to shield him from something far bigger than both of them. He touched the mark gently, feeling a soft warmth spread beneath his fingertips. It wasn't painful at all. Instead, it felt like a small spark of energy that responded to his thoughts, as if it recognized him. He wondered whether that was normal for her people, or if this was something only meant for him. The uncertainty of everything should have made him anxious, but somehow it didn't. Instead, curiosity began to push away the confusion. He stepped outside to the small balcony connected to his room. The cool air touched his face, and the early morning breeze carried the quiet sounds of the city waking up. Everything looked normal. People walking, cars passing, the soft glow of shop signs, but Rian's world was no longer the same. He had learned that an entire group of beings from another place had their eyes on him. He had learned that one of them, Lysora, had chosen to protect him in a way he didn't fully understand. And he had learned that the others, whoever they were, now reacted to his presence with caution, even fear. It felt unreal, yet the warmth on his shoulder reminded him that this was not a dream. Lysera arrived shortly after sunrise, appearing in that quiet way she always did, as if she moved without disturbing the world around her. Today, though, she looked more serious than usual, her eyes bright but slightly troubled. Rian noticed it immediately. You felt uneasy, she said gently, before he could even greet her. Your thoughts were louder today. He blinked at her. You felt that? She nodded. Your mind is still human, but the mark connects us. Only lightly, only enough for me to sense emotions that rise close to your surface. Nothing more. Her voice was calm, reassuring, as if she knew he needed that clarity. Rian nodded slowly. I guess it makes sense. I mean, everything is new. I'm trying to understand it. And I will help you, she replied softly. Today, there is more you must know. There was something in her tone that made his heart tighten a little, but he stayed calm. Lysera stepped closer, her expression softening as she looked at the glowing mark. It has adapted to you faster than I expected, she said. Your energy accepted it. That is rare. Is that good? He asked. It is. Surprising, she admitted. But yes, it is good. She motioned for him to follow her down the stairs and out into the quiet street. They walked side by side, the morning sun slowly rising behind them. Rian noticed she stayed close enough that their shoulders nearly touched. It wasn't accidental. Lysera always remained within a certain distance of him since the mark was placed. As if keeping watch, they walked toward a small open park a few blocks away. It wasn't crowded yet, just a couple of people jogging and a few others sipping warm drinks on benches. Lysera led him to a quiet corner near a tall tree where they could speak without interruption. She turned to him with a steady expression. You must understand why the others react to you the way they do, she began. It is not just the mark. It is what you carry now because of it. Rian listened carefully. The mark does not only protect you, she continued. It signals my presence in you. To my people, that makes you someone not to be touched, not to be followed, not to be questioned. It places you under my shield. And any being who respects our customs will respect the one I choose to protect. Rian swallowed lightly, the weight of her words settling on him. And the ones who don't respect your customs? She looked away for a moment before answering. There are some who do not follow the old ways. Some who believe that humans should remain separate from us. They will keep their distance now, but they will also watch. They will wonder why I placed the mark. They may worry that you now have influence you did not have before. Influence, Rian repeated, surprised. I'm still just... Lysera shook her head gently. Not to them. To them, a marked human is someone special. Someone chosen. Someone trusted. Rian wasn't used to being called anything like that. The idea felt overwhelming, almost unreal. He shifted slightly, trying to make sense of it. So what do I do now? He asked after a moment. I mean, what changes for me? Lysera took a breath, considering her words with care. Your life will remain your own. You may continue your days as you wish, but you must stay close to me for now. The mark is strong, but your understanding of it is not. And until you know more, there are things you must not face alone. Rian nodded slowly, trusting her judgment. Lysera studied him for a long moment. There is something else I wish to show you, she said quietly. Before he could ask what she meant, she extended her hand. He hesitated only a second before placing his hand in hers. Her touch was warm, naturally warm, not glowing or shining, but simply comforting. She led him toward the center of the park, where the sunlight now touched the grass in soft golden patches. Stand still, she said gently. He did, watching her raise her free hand toward the sky. The air shimmered slightly, almost like heat rising from a road, but softer. Then a faint ripple spread outward, forming a translucent layer of light around them. It surrounded them like a bubble, though it was barely visible. What is this? Rian whispered. A shield, she said. Something only I can summon. And now, something you can stand inside without resistance. It recognizes you because of the mark. Rian looked around in awe. The outside world looked the same, but quieter somehow, as if the sound softened when passing through the shimmering layer. This is beautiful, he murmured. Lysera watched him with a gentle smile. It was created for protection. But I thought you should see it, so you understand what the mark allows you to be part of. Rian turned toward her, a mix of wonder and gratitude rising inside him. Thank you, he said quietly. "You do not need to thank me," she replied. "I gave the mark because I chose to. Not from duty, but from something much closer to the heart." Rian felt a warmth in her voice that made his chest tighten in a different way soft. Calm and full of something he couldn't name yet, the shield slowly faded until it disappeared entirely. The world's sounds returned to normal. Lysera stepped closer, meeting his gaze. "There is still more to learn," she said softly. "Much more. And the coming days will show us both what the mark truly awakened." Rian nodded, feeling something inside him shift. He wasn't just involved anymore. He was part of something larger, something mysterious, and something deeply connected to Lysera. The morning sun rose higher, casting a warm glow around them as they stood in the quiet park, the world moving gently around them. And though Rian didn't know what would happen next, he felt ready to face it with her. The days continued to feel strange for Aaron. Ever since Lyra had marked him, he sensed the world noticing him in ways it never had before. Wherever he walked inside the alien base, quiet whispers followed. Doors opened before he even stepped near them. Creatures who once avoided eye contact now bowed their heads when he passed, as if he carried an invisible symbol of power. Aaron wasn't sure how to feel about any of it. It made him proud sometimes, but it also made him uneasy. He didn't desire fear or respect for something he didn't fully understand. Lyra stayed close to him, not in a protective way, but more like she simply enjoyed being near him. She moved with a calm confidence, and every time she looked at him, Aaron felt warmth spreading through his chest. Yet he reminded himself that he barely understood her world. He still couldn't read most alien expressions, and their customs confused him. What was friendly? What was formal? What was considered bold? He was still learning that morning. Lyra guided him through a quiet corridor that glowed with soft blue light. She explained that the council wanted to meet him again, but this time, not to question him. They wished to observe the effect her mark had on the others. Aaron wasn't sure if he should be worried or honored. Lyra explained that the mark she had given him was meant to mean connection, but the reaction from other alien groups was far stronger than she expected. Some aliens seemed to believe the mark meant he had special authority. Others believed it meant he possessed a hidden power, and a few were simply afraid of what the symbol might mean for their future. Aaron entered the council chamber with Lyra by his side. Their large eyes watched him with a mixture of curiosity and caution. When he stood in the center of the room, he felt their attention weigh on him, but Lyra stepped closer, her presence steady and reassuring. One of the council members spoke gently, explaining that several alien groups had been avoiding trade routes near their territory ever since Lyra's mark appeared on Aaron. They believed that someone carrying such a mark could cause unpredictable changes in their societies. Nothing harmful, just changes they weren't ready to face. Aaron listened carefully, trying to understand the larger picture. He never wanted to create fear. He only wanted to survive, learn, and maybe one day return home. But going home no longer felt as simple as before. He had grown attached to Lyra in this strange new world. He didn't want to see his planet again through memories alone, but he also didn't know which place he truly belonged to now. When the meeting finished, Lyra took him to the outer garden, a calm space filled with floating leaves and glowing pools of light. She could sense his thoughts without him needing to speak. Her species was good at reading emotional energy, and Aaron's uncertainty was easy for her to feel. She explained softly that the mark didn't trap him. It didn't mean she owned him or that he belonged to any group. It wasn't a command or a bond forced on him. It was simply a gesture in her culture that expressed trust and connection. She didn't expect the other alien groups to react the way they did. But now that they had, things were becoming complicated. Aaron sat on a smooth stone, watching the floating leaves dance in the gentle breeze. He asked Lyra why the other groups were afraid of him when he had done nothing but try to understand their world. Lyra smiled in a calming way and said that sometimes fear comes from imagination, not from real danger. The other groups were not afraid of him. They were afraid of the unknown future that might follow because of him. She sat beside him, close enough that he felt her warmth. She explained that her people had abilities that were mysterious to others, abilities tied to connection and energy. When she marked him, It created a signal that some groups interpreted as a sign that he might become a bridge between their species or a challenge to their traditions. Aaron thought carefully about her words. He wasn't sure he wanted to become a symbol of anything. He only wanted to understand why he felt drawn to this strange place and why he felt so connected to Lyra. As the sun above them shifted colors from blue to soft gold, an alarm echoed from deep inside the base. It wasn't loud, but it carried a serious tone. Lyra stood quickly, sensing something unusual. Aaron followed her, his heart beating faster. They hurried through the corridors, passing aliens who moved with focused urgency. Something had changed, and it was clear everyone felt it. When they arrived at the observation hall, the large screen displayed a group of alien ships hovering at the edge of their territory. They were not attacking or making threats, but their presence alone created tension. These were the same groups who had been avoiding trade routes. Now they were gathered together, watching, waiting, maybe demanding answers. Lyra's people communicated quickly, sending peaceful messages, trying to understand why the ships were there. Aaron stood beside Lyra, observing quietly. He didn't want to come between alien groups, but he knew this gathering was somehow connected to him. After a moment, a message came through. The visiting ships wanted to speak not to the council, not to Lyra, but to Aaron. The request surprised everyone. Aaron felt a chill run down his spine. He didn't feel ready for something like this. But Lyra placed a gentle hand on his arm and told him he would not face them alone. Aaron entered the communication room where a holographic display showed the leaders of the visiting ships. Their faces held calm expressions, but their eyes reflected deep concern. They began by explaining that they didn't wish to bring trouble. They only wanted to understand the mark, understand why Lyra had given it to a human, and understand what role Aaron might play in the future. Aaron tried to explain in simple words that he had no hidden power and no desire to cause fear or change. He spoke honestly, telling them that he was simply someone who survived an unexpected journey and was trying to learn. Lyra added that the mark was not a symbol of control, but of trust. She stood beside him with quiet confidence, showing them that the connection between them was peaceful. The alien leaders listened carefully, and although they still held uncertainty in their eyes, their expressions softened. They thanked Aaron for his honesty and promised to observe from a distance for now instead of assuming the worst. Slowly, their ships drifted away from the territory, leaving behind a sense of relief mixed with lingering questions. After the communication ended, Aaron sat down, exhausted from the emotional strain. Lyra joined him, her presence steady and warm. She told him he did well, and that his honesty brought calm to the situation. Aaron smiled weakly, feeling both proud and overwhelmed. Later that evening, they walked through the quiet halls again. Lyra sensed his tired mind and suggested they rest in the garden. Aaron nodded, appreciating the peaceful idea. As they sat under the glowing sky, he confessed that he often felt unsure about everything's place, the future, and the strange attention the mark brought. Lyra listened with gentle patience. She told him that uncertainty was normal when stepping into a new world. She reassured him that the mark didn't define his path. He still had the freedom to choose his own direction, whether that meant staying with them or finding a way back home someday. Aaron looked at her, feeling the sincerity behind her words. He realized she truly didn't want to control anything about his life. She simply wanted to share a connection with him. The moment felt peaceful and honest. It's like the first clear breath after a storm. But Aaron didn't know that the calm was temporary. Something far more mysterious was unfolding beneath the surface, something that neither he nor Lyra fully understood yet. And the mark she had given him was about to awaken in a way no one expected. He never expected his life to change on an ordinary evening, but that was exactly what happened to Aaron the night he first met her. Until then, his days were simple. Work, home, sleep, repeat. He was not someone who looked for big adventures, nor someone who believed in strange creatures or other worlds. He liked living a quiet life. But sometimes life chooses adventure for a person, even when he never asks for it. It all began when Aaron took a late walk near the forest behind his neighborhood. He often walked there to clear his mind, and the cool air of the evening helped him relax. The sky that night was unusually bright. The moon looked larger than usual, hanging low like it wanted to whisper something to the earth. The wind, too, seemed to move differently. As if carrying secrets, Aaron walked slowly, listening to the small sounds around him, the leaves shifting under his shoes, the distant call of a night bird, and the rustling of branches overhead. Everything felt normal until the moment it didn't. At first, he noticed a strange shimmer between the trees, almost like a soft glow. It was faint, but enough to catch his attention. He stopped and narrowed his eyes. For a moment, he wondered if it was just moonlight playing tricks on him. But something inside nudged him to take a closer look. As he walked toward the light, the air seemed to thicken, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. His heartbeat quickened, though not from fear, more from curiosity. Before he reached the glowing spot, he heard a soft sound, something like a sigh. The moment he heard it, the glow faded, leaving only darkness. Aaron paused. Everything went still. Then, from behind a nearby tree, someone or something stepped out. She was unlike anyone he had ever seen. Her presence felt calm but powerful, like she carried the weight of 1,000 stories. Her eyes glowed faintly, not in a frightening way, but in a way that made her seem as though she carried starlight within her. She looked human, yet something about her felt different. Not dangerous, just different. Aaron stood frozen, unsure what to say. She looked at him with curiosity, almost as if she had been expecting him. "You came," she said softly. Her voice was gentle, warm, and strangely familiar, even though he was sure he had never met her before. Aaron swallowed. "I didn't know someone was here." She stepped closer. She moved with grace, like she belonged to the air around her. "I am Lyra," she said. "And I have been waiting." Aaron blinked at her. Waiting for him? That made no sense. He wanted to ask 100 questions, but Lyra seemed to sense his confusion. "Do not worry," she said. "I will explain everything." She took another step closer, now standing close enough that Aaron could see tiny shimmering patterns on her skin, like faint silver markings that shifted gently with the light. They were beautiful, delicate, almost like nature itself had painted them on her. Aaron should have been nervous. Anyone would be. But strangely, he felt calm. Lyra did not feel dangerous. She felt familiar, though he did not know why. Before he could speak again, she reached out her hand. Her touch was soft and warm, and the moment her fingers brushed his, he felt something change in the air, almost like a spark, but not sharp. More like a soft connection forming between them. "I found you at last," she said quietly. "And I cannot let others take you." Her words puzzled him, but her tone carried honesty. "Others?" Aaron asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, but you do not need to fear them now." Lyra looked at him with a small smile, gentle but firm. Then she leaned closer. Aaron's breath caught for a moment, unsure what she was doing, but her expression held kindness, not threat. What she did next was surprising but not painful. She gently pressed her lips to the skin of his shoulder and gave a soft, warm touch a mark, not a hurtful one. It was like the gentle nip of a playful creature, more symbolic than physical. The gesture felt strange, but it did not harm him. In fact, it almost felt protective, like she was giving him something important. Aaron stepped back slightly, startled, but not frightened. "What? What was that?" Lyra's glowing eyes softened. "I marked you so they cannot claim you. Now you are under my protection." Aaron touched the spot on his shoulder. It didn't hurt. It felt warm, almost like sunlight touching skin. "But why me?" he asked. Lyra looked at him with seriousness. "Because you carry something they want. Something inside you. Something even you do not know yet." Aaron felt a shiver, not from fear, but from the weight of her words. What could she mean? He lived an ordinary life. There was nothing special about him. At least that was what he always believed. Lyra continued, "The mark I gave you lets them know you are watched. They will not approach you now. They fear my presence." Aaron was quiet, trying to understand. "Who are they?" She looked toward the sky, where stars twinkled softly. "Beings from beyond this world. They search for people like you. People with hidden gifts? Aaron almost laughed. It sounded unbelievable. But the sincerity in Lyra's face made him pause. She didn't look like someone who told stories for fun. You don't have to believe me yet, she said. But soon you will see. They already know you exist, and they are trying to find you. Aaron felt the forest around him shift, as if reacting to her words. He didn't want to believe it, but something deep inside told him she was telling the truth. Something in her eyes, her voice, her presence, it all felt real. What do I do now? Aaron asked quietly. Lyra stepped closer again, her voice soft but confident. Stay near me. You are safe as long as my mark remains on you. And together, we will uncover the truth inside you. She gently took his hand again, and for a moment the glow around her brightened, faint but beautiful. Aaron felt a calmness settle inside him. A part of him still questioned everything, but another part felt strangely certain that this was the beginning of something important as they walked together out of the forest. Aaron felt the warm mark on his shoulder pulse gently. Not painful, just alive. He didn't know what waited ahead, but he knew his life would never be the same again. And for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of purpose rising within him. Something had begun.